What's up, guys? It's me, Spectrar here in another video in Wayward Terran Frontier. This one's exciting. We're going to be talking about the new really big update that just went live earlier this week. I believe it was over this last weekend, if you are watching this when this comes out. But before we get to that, I need to mention a couple of things. First off, there's going to be some changes to the way my content comes out. I don't want to do it here all at the beginning because it'll bore a lot of you, but if you are interested in my channel and my videos and all that stuff, please stick around to the end where I'll talk about that a little bit more. And it will influence how content about this comes out, like tutorials and stuff like that. So check that out at the end. Okay, so let's go into things that have changed. Now, this update is huge. I mean, the patch notes list is, massive. And I would bore you guys all to tears if I went through every single thing. Now, if you guys really want me to, I can go through every single little and read through everything in a separate video, if enough of you comment about it. But I went through and picked out things that I felt like were keynote changes, and I'm going to talk about those. I'm going to go through a list of things that I can't really show you yet because I haven't got to them, and then at the end I'll go through some stuff that I can show you. So let's kind of go, at the beginning of his patch notes he goes through an overview of what has changed. He talks about interior combat, animation, different AI pathfinding, and crew weapons and effects and things like that have all been kind of overhauled and changed, which is exciting, and a lot of it is really cool, and I'll show you a little bit of that. Now the game has a story progression, which is really affects the save file format, which is really big about this update. Now, if everything pans out the way the developer wants it to, we should no longer have save file wipes when new content comes out, which is huge, guys. I'm so excited for this. So when a new patch comes out, you don't have to start the game all over again, which none of us really like doing. And what is going to happen is that with these new story progression things, there's going to be quests and loot progression and things like that. Not all of it's out, and things will come out in waves, but it's there, and it's in the code, and some of it is already in there right now that you can do. Like I said, a lot of new quests, dialogue events, he talks about that, a ton of visual enhancements and additions, and a massive amount of bugs and fixes. He emphasizes the fact that this is probably the most stable version that's out, and that if you've been waiting for the game to become stable, this is probably the best time for you to hop back into this game. And I would agree so far, and especially looking at the list of bugs fixes he has done, I would agree. A lot of them I noticed, and things like that. Okay, so besides that, there's new ships. A lot of stats on weapons have changed. We'll kind of go over a tiny bit. I can go over it in a little more detail maybe as I find out, but there are some new things added to weapons that I will be showing you. Another big thing, so he had kind of disabled the drill bore that allowed you to mine in the previous version because it was getting really buggy. He's re-enabled it, but everything's kind of still unfinished, and not to mention the refined values of dirt and lead ore have been drastically nerfed. The reason for this is the next big update, according to what he has said so far, is going to be about mining, which is exciting, which means mining is going to become a bigger part of it. So don't freak out now if you really want to mine and it's not working. You can still do it, it's just not the way it's going to be, you know? And so when it comes out, I will be doing a full video on mining and kind of going through all that as I figure it out. Another big thing that has happened, you know those little monster bug things that are in those abandoned stations? Those have been reworked. They have a new animation. They're like, it's spawner based inside the abandoned stations. I haven't been able to get to one and see the inside, but that's what it states, which is kind of cool. I think that's kind of a better option, and I think the animation is something that I'm excited to see as well. The crew has changed a little bit. There's 4 new placeholders for crew members, which I'm assuming means there's 4 different crew members that we can acquire now. 4 new ones besides Marv, I think was his name. And they all have their own like nano auras and stats and stuff like that. Another thing is crew weapons have been updated so that they can't hurt each other. Their damage is kind of a little bit different, which seems to make it so that you can hit multiple enemies but not hurt friendly people. It's kind of weird. It's called like a hit scan based damage is what he says. So crew is a little more viable now, which is exciting. So station shops that you see out in the world, they're going to have different loot depending on what stage of the game you are in. So like right now, Phase 1 is out, so it's going to have certain loot that you can get. And as you progress through the game, I'm assuming it'll become better loot, probably more expensive. But it makes it so that something that you wouldn't be able to afford now isn't there, and it's replaced with something you can get. And I'm assuming certain quests and events will trigger loot coming into the station. The loot table, I guess is what he calls it. And another thing to add to that, you know how when you destroyed a ship and the reactor exploded and it dropped that really cool exotic matter that was worth tons? No longer does that. The only reason it was there before is because the economy wasn't really set up yet and he wanted a reason for you to attack ships. And that's no longer really needed now because of the way the economy works and looting and all this stuff. But exotic matter can still be found inside Abandoned Station and is still worth a lot. So it's still there, you just can't get it as easily, which I think is a good move because it kind of broke the game. Another thing that I thought was interesting that it talks about, empty abandoned ships will now be ejected from stations violently. I don't know what that means. I'm assuming that when you die and leave a ship and it's attached to a station, it's going to eject violently. I'm really excited to find that. So I thought I'd do a special shout out for that patch note because I thought it was really, really quite interesting. Okay, so let's go into things in the game that I can show you. Now, masteries have been added to the game. So, here, nope. So in this top right corner right here, you have this masteries tab underneath research. If you click on that, I'm assuming there's a quick, oh, it's not M for mastery. I don't know what it is yet. But you can click on that, and you've got this mastery tree. Now, missiles is not done yet. He's still working on that, and I'm assuming most of these aren't completely done, like emitters and stuff. But you can, based on points you get, I'm assuming from quests, you can upgrade yourself. So your turrets will do better damage or reloading or accuracy. Your energy weapons, which is a new weapon type, which we will kind of look at a little bit here. You've got emitters, which we've always had. Missiles, obviously, because missiles are going to be having new types and stuff, which aren't quite available yet, as far as I can tell, because he's still working on it. But the code is in there, so there'll be new types of missiles. They'll have an acceleration stat, things like that. The construction of your ship, you can, the way the armor works, your structure works, it's really cool. I suggest you take a look at this skill tree, which really adds to the RPG element that it's going to become this game. Another thing is, on all menus, it has a universal escape now. You can hit escape and stuff like that, and anything that you go into is going to recognize that and escape. You know how sometimes you had to exit specifically on some of the menus? That's no longer the case. So next is research. Research has changed. So if I go to the research tab, which you can use by hitting I, you start with all these at the very beginning game, all these different research things that you can do. They're basic components, which is kind of nice to have that you can remove from a ship as you're customizing your ships, which I felt was really needed. Another thing is, you can now no longer go below 1,000 credits when researching so that you can't bankrupt yourself. That way you always have something that you can trade with, which is good because otherwise you could potentially get stranded in the game and not be able to progress. Another thing is that the research times have been nerfed. As you can see, all of these are 3 seconds. I'm assuming it might go up a little bit as things get expensive, but it's not to where you have to wait 6 minutes to research a thing. He stated that nerfed all research times to be practically instant. Earning sufficient credits to research some tech should be enough. You no longer have to wait 6 minutes, which I think is awesome. So we're going to go ahead and test this as I go into here, start research. Look how fast that is going, but as you can see, it does not drop me below 1,000 credits, which is nice. But I do like the fact that I no longer have to sit here, wait 6 minutes, start a research, maybe go do something else, come back, and then I can play the game again. It happens almost instantly. I feel like that was a much needed thing, and I'm really, really glad he added it. So, now, sorry, I have some notes to the side if you see me not moving here on the screen that you can see. If I head into the ship, and I come in here, there's a new system base for ships. As you can see, you got this little side tab and this your main ammo tab that you've always had. Now, the new system is ammo. Now, beforehand, you had your ammo clip, or sorry, magazine. That's the word I was looking for. You had your magazine of ammo loaded into the ship, and as you shot it, it depleted like that. And then after you depleted it, you would require energy to reload your ship, reload your clip, essentially. Now, what happens when you run out, you can see you have this extra clip to the side that disappeared for a second as that red bar filled. What happens now is you have two clips. You have one loaded and one to the side. The one to the side is a small bar. When you run out, when your magazine that's loaded runs out, it automatically swaps. Now that time is set based on the size of the mount. As you notice, the bigger ones in the back require longer to reload because it's a set time for that mount. And where energy comes in is reloading that second clip. Now, for this, they reloaded almost instantly, so I had my second clip almost instantly. I'm assuming that changes on the bigger mounts and depending on what kind of turret you're using, whether it's like a machine gun or something like that. So I think that's kind of a cool thing that they've implemented, changing up the way ammo works, and I'm glad it's kind of like that because it makes things feel make sense, and you can manually do it by pressing R. If you're in the middle of a clip and you want to reload instead of emptying your clip, you can just hit R to reload, and it works. Now, missiles have changed a little bit, like I mentioned, but they aren't really in yet, so I can't really cover them all that much and like explain what they do. But one thing for sure is that missile magazines now have a chance to explode when they're destroyed and have a missile in them, which totally makes sense if you ask me. And another thing is he's balanced a lot of the weapons that are already in the game. Now, another big thing that has happened in the game is the travel drive. So you hit T, and you notice that it's going a lot slower than it used to. That is because there was a bug where, because travel drive now affects time, it like loaded super quick, and he didn't intend for that. He still wanted engines to affect how fast you go into travel drive. So that's been fixed. So now based on your engines and stuff like that, you'll go into travel drive at the appropriate time. But it still affects time and all that like it did. But you may notice that you have this now. Now, if I let go of left click, that goes away, and I travel drive like normal. But if I hold left click, I can now do one-handed driving. The further out I am, the faster I go, and the closer in I am, the obviously I go slower. You may have noticed that this makes it, for one, a lot easier to see your ship amongst all these asteroids, which was, if you've seen some of my videos, a big complaint and annoyance for me. It drove me nuts. So he's added this nice outline rim to the arrow, which I really appreciate, and he's added this, which kind of gives you that one-handed operation. Now he's giving us a little funny note in the patch notes for this. Pilots found it hard to eat or play on their cell phones while traveling at superluminal velocities through dense asteroid fields, so he made life easier by adding new optional control scheme, controlled travel drive with only one hand by holding the left mouse button and dragging in the direction of adventure. Oops, I wasn't looking at my screen and drove right into an asteroid. So I think that's really funny. There's a way to disable it, but I think it's awesome. I'm assuming it's this travel drive mode. So if I hit F1, nope. I'll have to get back to you on that. I don't know what it is. It may be in the settings. I'll find out though and show you in a future video. Which I like the new travel drive. It felt a little weird with the arrow at first. It felt a little cheesy, but it kind of grew on me, and I like it now. It makes it simple to see where I'm going. It's no longer I have to second guess certain things. I like it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Another big thing is you go to map, and the map has changed. Look at that. That is just beautiful. I mean, bravo to the art director of this game. I butcher his name every time, so I'm just not going to say it. But you scroll out, and you can see all the other galaxies have really cool things too. But we scroll back in, and you notice that stations now have an icon, so that way you can more easily determine what a station is. You'll also notice that our home station has its own symbol, so that way we always know what sector it's in, which I think is amazing. Second of all, if you left click, right click on a station. Left click still gives you these options, but you right click, you see you get this little orange crosshair on it. Now if we exit the map, we now have a waypoint. You can have waypoint stations, which is so cool. And I think the main reason he did this is, first of all, it was needed, and second of all, you'll have waypoints to quests that you'll follow, which is also really useful. Some of the UI things that they changed with ships, not only are there new ships, but the factions now have a UI that's smarter for maneuvering around and interacting with each other and you. The ships now spawn with loot instead of all spawning empty and having to go to a station to get loot to trade with, like the trade ships. So that way, at the beginning of the game, you're not just, if you're trying to loot ships at the beginning, you're not just looting empty ships all over the place. And he's added a lot of really cool visual improvements. Other than that, on the inside, there's some different animation-looking deals with the conduits, the reactors. They don't feel like huge changes, but they're nice enough to where it feels more natural. But one of the big things on the inside is the combat. So when I hold right click, I pull out my gun. And you can see my crosshair moving there by the cargo area. And right now it's like that, but when I shoot, it opens up. So what happens is the faster I fire, the less accurate I am. And you can see the new animation for the bullets, which is really cool. So the longer I wait, the more accurate I am going to be with my shots, which I think is really cool because if you've ever seen me play, I like panic click, and so this is going to encourage me to not panic click so much, and I'm assuming that stat's going to be different based on the type of weapon you have. This is a pistol, and I'm assuming it's going to be different based on the weapons. Other than that, if we save and exit out of here and go into, let's just do a new profile, that's the name, confirm. We come into here. There's some new things in here, not a lot. A lot of it is in the code, but just not actualized yet. So right now we have these energy mounts. Right now there's not a lot of options for this, and I'm assuming that's going to change in the future as, the updates come out in waves. But it's kind of cool that we have a new set of weapons that we can play around with. I'm assuming that because these turrets now run on magazines and less on energy. It's less about energy and more about the magazines and the ammo you have. These weapons are going to be more about energy and consumption of power. Sorry if you can hear my dog in the background. She's barking at something. So that's kind of exciting, and it kind of replaces that feel. And I think that's why it's been added, and that's why these got magazines. Other than that, there's only one other module that I could see that's currently available, and it's a new tavern, and it looks really cool. I really like it. It looks really beautiful. It really matches with the aesthetic of these hallways that we got a while ago. I think it's just really cool. It's going to be cool to see in stations and in any ship builds you might do. Dog, please be quiet. Can't you see I am informing these wonderful people about the new game changes? Anyways, other than that is all the changes that have come to the game. There's so much more in the patch notes, guys. You should really go to it. It's WTFfrontier.com. I'm really bad about putting things in the description, but I'm going to do it this time, and it will be in the description, and you can check it out. So, now about the changes about how things are going to be coming out. Now, I've always wanted to do Let's Plays in this game, but I never really felt like it was viable until now. And I want to kind of start doing Let's Play type things for this game. And it's kind of convenient because I'm getting slammed more and more by work and school, and it's consuming a lot of my time, and it's making it a lot harder to do this channel. And to be honest with you guys, about 4 days ago, I was considering just not doing this channel anymore because it was becoming a little too much. And so I had to step back and say, I just got to not live by this strict schedule that I gave to myself, and I just gotta release things as I can. And so to help me do that, I'm going to be doing Let's Plays that I could be doing weekly, and they're going to be kind of like tutorial-ish Let's Plays. One of the viewers mentioned that in a comment, so thank you. So at least somebody's interested in seeing something like that. And then as I discover things in that Let's Play, I will then take the time to do an actual just standalone tutorial about that thing. So you'll still get tutorials about this game. They're just going to come out a little bit slower. Sorry about that. Unless you request it like heavily, then I'll, work on it harder. But that's kind of how things are going to come out. And then as I have time for things, videos about other stuff will come out. Because, frankly, I have people I like to play games with. There's other games I like playing that you guys don't seem all that interested in. And I've got to have fun with that too, as well as playing these games that I also enjoy. But at the same time, I'm working to make a video about it. So it's not as relaxing as you might understand. But if there is another game that you would enjoy seeing a Let's Play kind of deal out of, and the reason the Let's Plays are easier, it's a little less editing and it's a lot less pre-planning for the video. I don't have to do as much prep work. Like for this video, I did tons of prep work. I had to. I didn't have a choice, and I didn't get to do as much as I wanted. And so if you have another game that you'd want to see a Let's Play type thing, those could come out more regularly. And if I have the game, I'll do it. But other than that, I mean, I don't know if you guys would enjoy seeing games that I play by myself, but it seems like for most of you on this channel, you enjoy mostly seeing these space games like Wayward Terran, Frontier, and Space Engineers, and I still enjoy them, and I'll still do them. But if you do have a suggestion for a game that you'd like to enjoy seeing Let's Plays in, I'll do them. Or if you'd rather just every once in a while see a game of me that I'm personally playing. I know some of you enjoyed that cluster truck video. I'll be doing another one of those. But that's kind of how things have to change. I really wish I could dedicate all my time to this channel instead of work. But unfortunately, the world revolves around money, and I have to make money, and I don't make money doing this YouTube thing as much as I would love to. So I can't dedicate the 8 hours I spend at work to this like I want to. So that's the way things are. Sorry, some videos are going to be coming out a little bit slower and less schedule-like, which will most likely affect views, which I'm expecting. But at least I'm not just completely shutting down the channel for those couple of you that are actually interested in my content. So honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for those of you that do enjoy my content and enjoy watching me. I hope to continue to entertain you or help you or whatever you're here for this channel for. And as always, if you have suggestions, put them in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya. Sorry this video is so long.